Hey guys, I just want to get on here and just talk to you about the importance of everybody's job, everybody's position. We have to be careful that we don't look down on people. We don't look down on someone's social status and think that they are less significant because of the position they hold. Everyone on the face of this planet has a purpose, regardless of how mundane, regardless of where you think they are on the economic social ladder, whether you feel like they're white collar versus blue collar, etc., or the elites, their jobs are very important. Okay, the shoemaker is important. May not make a lot of shoes unless there's some top designer, but even the top designer, they're not making their own shoes. They may have a drawing, an idea of what they want, but there's people who are far less financially stable that are making those shoes. A lot of things that we wear, it's very poor people who make it. Imagine if they were not around. Will we have these shoes? Perhaps a machine can make them, but it's probably going to be a little bit different. A lot of times people will look down on people who are cooks. Oh, they're just a cook, and people want to mistreat them. But think of all the delicious meals in the restaurants. If there were no cooks, if there was no one who was working in those positions, you'd have to cook every day. Now, some of you already do that, okay? And that's great. But those of you that like to eat out, think about it if there was no one. Think about if there's no one working and in the restaurants and the things that you're at, whether you're driving through real quick, if they were not there. Imagine the state of the stores, supermarkets, the farmers market, if there were not people who put all those apples and all those goods in order. What would that look like? If they're not there to take the ones that are expired, it to be expiring or expired and set it up, and imagine what it would be like. Imagine the chaos. Imagine if the person who's cleaning the aisles of the store, if they were not, the nice stores we walk through, the hospitals we go to, the hospital that I go to with my family, is like you could eat off the floor. The floor is shiny and sparkling, it's clean. There's someone who mopped those floors. We may not see them because a lot of times they're doing the things when there's low traffic and after hours, but imagine if they were not there. Imagine if that person who takes the trash out was not there. Imagine if the people who collects our trash every day were not there. Imagine if there was someone who the person who cleaned the pool wasn't there. Imagine if those who build the streets and pave the roads, if they just decide we're not going to do that. Imagine if there are no electricians. Imagine if there's no one to fix your car. Imagine that. Imagine if there's no one to organize the stores and put things in order and put the tags on and make all the things that we may not think about convenient. Imagine what the schools would look like if the janitors were not there and the cooks were not cooking. So understand that regardless of the position that people have, just because they're not in an esteemed position, just because they're not up front, it does not make them any less important. And we must be very careful how we treat people. Be kind to your gardener. Be kind to your housekeeper. Be kind. You can say hello to those who are standing there. How many times people just stand right next to a person who because they have that cart with all the bins and their housekeeping, you don't say anything. I make a point to say hello to them. I say hi. I'm not going to say every time. I always talk, especially if I'm preoccupied. I may be preoccupied and not really notice, but I make a point to talk to them. But there are people who literally would not speak to them because they feel that they're less than. Imagine what the hotels would look like if there were not people who went in there and made the bed just perfectly. Those big beds, just stiff. You could hardly get on the covers. They had to do that. A lot of times they're doing all that by themselves. They're changing the sheets. They vacuum. They're cleaning. They have to restock everything, make everything nice for you. And then you have people that will go there and cause trouble and vandalize a room and make it very dirty because, oh, that's their job. How evil. But imagine that. Imagine if they were not around, what hotels will look like. Well, I tell you, I believe a lot of us would not be staying in hotels. the pool, everything, just down to the breakfast. People that you may consider to be of low class or they're not important. In fact, they're doing a lot of the jobs and the things that we need for our comforts. You don't see the farmer, but look at all that work. When you go to the Whole Food stores or you go to the store, you see all those apples, you see all those things piled up. Someone worked very hard, calloused hands somewhere. You don't see them, skin just baked and tanned and crinkled, all that work. Someone had to slaughter whatever animals you eat. Someone had to pack up all those apples. You don't think about them. Someone had to pack up all the things we have packaged in the store. They sit there and just pack all day, and they're probably getting minimum wage, not much. But yet and still, if no one was packing those bread, if no one's twisting the twist ties, if no one's standing on the assembly line, getting things done and ensuring that things are being done. Now there's a lot of machines that's doing things, but it still requires some oversight by individuals. If they were not doing this, wow, what a world we would be in. Yes, the doctors are doing the great things and prescribing the meds, but even those little containers that our medicine comes in, somebody somewhere getting paid peanuts had to get those bottle caps and everything all together to ship, to enter into the hospitals for dispensation. If those individuals were not around, what would it be like? So we have to be so careful how we treat people. Everyone has a very important role. And just because someone does not have a degree, and because they don't come from a wealthy family, and because they don't look like you, and because their general attire is just a uniform and they may not have the best shoes on, or they're not whatever their background and origins are, it does not take the fact that their role is extremely important, if not more important than some of the positions that people hold. Because not everybody needs a lawyer, but we all need food. Not everybody needs to go see a doctor, but we need a hotel room that's clean. We need our streets to be clean. You see the builders, and they're out there building houses and they're dirty. You see the construction, but wow, they have an extremely important job. The big, beautiful houses that we move into and live in, and we're on the deck and we're looking out, and we're enjoying the Eden kitchen and all of that. And someone worked very hard to make that happen, because without them, you wouldn't have been able to do any of that. We wouldn't have been able to do any of that. The finishing touches on the house, the beautiful door. Someone stood there sweating and drilled and put that door in with a stained glass, and all we do is just walk through. We don't do anything, but we'll think we're better because we bought it. But if they didn't make it, there'll be nothing to buy. So this is why, guys, be careful how you treat people. Do not look down on people because they're the gas station attendant. Do not look down on people because they're changing the water from the hot dogs. Do not look down on someone because they are not in the same social class as you, because they have very, very, very important jobs. And because you don't see it does not make them important, does not make them any less important. And I think of in the Bible where it talks about when in the Old Testament, and God was talking about he was having Moses and at one point Joshua, but talking to them about the different tasks that he was assigning, and he was very specific. He wanted people who were skilled, who was very good. He said cunning, meaning they are well versed and they know their job. They're experts in their fields, even down to just the person who was going to change out the showbread daily in the tabernacle. That person was not just picked randomly, but they had an important role. And we have to understand as sometimes the route people will take, they may not have had the opportunity to go to the schools and get the higher level of educations that we get and all of that. Some, yes, it may be they could have done better, but they didn't. But sometimes this is their destiny. This is what they do. But you know what? They're not very wealthy, but they make our environment a lot more comfortable. A lot more comfortable. Our hospitals, our bakeries, our stores, our markets, our streets, our hedges. Just going into a restaurant to get some food. It's important. The stores that we're walking into, it is because of them. It is because of them. So be careful the way that you treat people and the way that you view people, because there's no high or low system. There's no hierarchy system with God. Every last one of us has a purpose and something that we are called here to do. And those who are unseen and unheard, and they're not dressed up in the business suits and the designer outfits, and they're not holding the microphone, and they're not up front, and nobody knows their name. A lot of times these people play very critical roles that we would notice and even suffer and probably go into relapse if these individuals just suddenly said, I'm not doing this anymore. It will affect us so much, and we'll be trying to scramble and fix things ourselves. We'll be trying to fix our cars and figure out how to do certain things, and trying to figure out how to build a house, and trying to figure out what we're going to eat. Because the people who slaughter the animals, and the people who brings the vegetables in, and the people who normally have everything all packaged, they're all gone. No one's cleaning the bathrooms anymore. No one's cleaning the rest stops. No one's inside the stores changing out the water, the hot dogs. No one's in there making the quick, smart, nice and easy and comfortable for us. Imagine this type of world. Imagine the chaos. So let us value people and realize their importance, and take the time to say good morning and good evening. At the very least, just appreciate what they do and don't look down on them because you're dressed up and they're not, and because you know famous people and they don't, because you have a higher level of education and they don't. And isn't that true? Because a lot of people, what do you do? What degree do you have? What are you doing? Oh, okay. What circles are you in? What organizations? Oh, yes. I'm working on my doctorates, and I got this and I got that. And they're the first one to punch out of this life when certain things happen, where you have people who are far less fortunate, don't know what air conditioning is. These people are smiling and living and thriving. The irony. So just something to think about, guys. Let us be careful how we treat other people. God bless.